You don't think of it as a decision. That's the thing nobody tells you. The most important financial choice of your life doesn't arrive with a... It arrives on a Tuesday, or a Sunday night, or the afternoon you get your first real paycheck and stare at the number after taxes and think, $500 a month. Not a dramatic number, not a life-altering sacrifice, just $500. This is what that decision actually looks like. Not in theory, not in a textbook, but in the specific, real, compounding weight of a life lived with it versus a life lived without it. Your first paycheck after taxes is somewhere between $1,600 and $2,400. The number feels both larger and smaller than you expected. $500 a month is $1,667 a day. It is one meal out replaced with one meal in. It is the subscription bundle you don't actually use. It is the upgrade you chose instead of the base model. It has everything to do with time itself. You set up the automatic transfer the day after payday, before the weekend, before the question of whether you can afford it becomes a conversation you talk yourself out of. $500 leaves the checking account. The balance at the end of month one is $500. At the end of year one, you have contributed $6,000. Year one is not about the number. Year one is about the habit becoming structural. The system is the strategy. You don't have to be motivated every month. The transfer doesn't care if you're motivated. By 25, you have contributed $18,000. The account balance is approximately $23,400. There was a quarter where the balance dropped to $19,000, and you watched it and felt something uncomfortable in your chest, and then did nothing, because you had read enough to know that doing nothing was the correct response. At 27, you've contributed $30,000. The account balance is approximately $40,700. The gap between what you put in and what the account holds is $10,700. That $10,700 is the first real evidence of compounding. You didn't earn it. You didn't work for it. You didn't make a clever decision to generate it. You generated it by leaving $30,000 alone for 5 years. 10 years of $500 a month. Total contributed $60,000. Account balance? Approximately $86,900. The gap between what you put in and what you hold is now $26,900. You are 32. You have $86,900 that required $60,000 of decisions and a decade of not touching it. The account is getting faster. Every year, the base it grows from is larger. At 29, you have a car that needs $3,400 in repairs that you don't have liquid. The investment account has $52,000 in it. The thought arrives with perfect clarity. You could just pull $4,000. You don't. Not because you are made of exceptional discipline, because you have a separate emergency fund that exists for exactly this moment. At 31, you have a child. The expenses restructure themselves in ways that are both predictable in category and completely unpredictable in amount. The $500 stays. 6 months at $500 is $3,000 not invested. At 7% over the remaining 31 years until 65, that $3,000 becomes $24,800. You are not stopping the transfer for 6 months to save $3,000 that will cost you $24,800. 21 years of $500 a month. Total contributed $126,000. Account balance approximately $285,000. The gap between what you put in and what the account holds is $159,000.
$159,000 of that balance you never touched, never earned in a conventional sense, never sacrificed for beyond the original $500 decision made when you were 22. Not $159,000 is time. It is 21 years of compound interest doing the thing that compound interest does when you leave it alone long enough. At 45, the account holds approximately $357,000. In that year alone, at 7%, the account generates approximately $25,000 in returns. You contributed $6,000 that year. The account contributed $25,000. At 50, the account holds approximately $530,000. That year, it generates approximately $37,000 in returns on its own. You contributed $6,000. The account contributed $37,000. At 55, the account holds approximately $754,000. That year, it generates approximately $52,800 in returns. You are contributing $6,000 a year. The account is contributing $52,800. 43 years of $500 a month. Total contributed $258,000. Account balance at 7% average annual return, approximately $1,488,000. You put in $258,000. The account holds $1,488,000. The difference, $1,230,000, generated by time, by the decision made at 22 to send $500 before the weekend. By the car repair at 29 that you covered from the emergency fund instead of the investment account. By the 6 months you considered pausing and didn't. By 516 automated transfers that left your account on the same day every month for 43 years. At a 4% withdrawal rate, $1,488,000 produces $59,520 a year, $4,960 a month, from $500 a month for 43 years. It doesn't feel the way you thought it would. You thought crossing into 7 figures would feel like arrival, like a door opening into something visibly different. What it actually feels like is this: quiet. A very specific kind of quiet that has nothing to do with silence and everything to do with the absence of a background frequency you stopped noticing decades ago.
You can stop working at 65 and replace your salary entirely from the account. You can stop earlier if the account grew faster than projected. You can work because you want to, not because the math requires it. Somewhere in the same city, the same year, the same first paycheck, there is a version of you who didn't set up the transfer. Not from laziness, not from ignorance exactly, from the entirely reasonable feeling that $500 was too much right now. They planned to start later, when the salary was higher, when the loans were paid down, when the timing was better. The timing got better. Then something else came up. At 65, that version has whatever they managed to save in the years they eventually did start. Maybe $200,000, maybe $380,000 if they were aggressive in the back half. Not nothing, but not $1,488,000. The distance between those two lives is not talent, not income, not luck in any meaningful sense. It is one automated transfer set up on a Tuesday when you were 22 years old. $500 a month, $16.67 a day, one less meal out per week, one subscription canceled, one upgrade not taken. That is the entire ask. The number at 65 is not $500,000. It is not $800,000. It is $1,488,000. Somewhere tonight, someone is 22 years old and staring at their first paycheck and doing the math and deciding that $500 is too much right now. They're not wrong about the now. They're just not thinking about the 65. Set up the transfer. Do it before the weekend. Don't look at it again until you have to. That's it. That's the whole thing.